Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. This is the podcast that's packed with protein and probiotics because we study the Psalms every day, verse by verse. We're looking today at Psalm 99, verses 6 and 7. Now, we've looked at the first two sections already now this week. The first section was verses 1 through 3. The second section, verses 4 and 5. Each of these sections ends the same way, for he is holy. And then in verse 9, which ends the third section, which we're beginning today, we have, for the Lord our God is holy. These statements control the sections, and we saw in the first section, we were talking about the sovereignty of God in the present. We were talking about in the second section, the sovereignty of God for the future. He establishes equity. And then now in 6 through 9, we're going to talk about the sovereignty of God in the past. One of the things that's unique about the Psalms is, well, it's not really the Psalms, but it's the entire Bible, is how the writers will always look to the past, to what God has done. Remember what the Lord has done. There was some time back, I don't know if it was in book 2 or book 3, we had several Psalms in a row where the psalmist was telling us to remember. Remembering what the Lord has done is good soul care. And so we come here to this third section in Psalm 99, and we're going to do a little bit of that soul care today because we're going to encourage ourselves as we remember what the Lord has done. We begin with verse 6. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name. They called upon the Lord, and he answered them. He spake unto them in the cloudy pillar. They kept his testimonies and the ordinance that he gave them. All right, that's verses 6 and 7. So I said we're going back to the past here, and we're going to remember. We're going to remember all that the Lord has done. So we go back to Moses and Aaron, his priests. Of course, we know that they're from the tribe of Levi, and the Levitical priesthood is established under Aaron. And of course, Moses, his brother, is among the priests because, of course, Moses was the one who was always going in before God. Samuel among them that call upon his name. So we go back now to Samuel. In a sense, we leap forward in history, but we're still looking back. Moses and Aaron with the Exodus. Samuel in 1 Samuel, the last of the judges. And so Samuel, was raised up in the tabernacle. He was learning the trade of priesthood. But it says Samuel is among them that call upon his name. And what happens to the people that call upon the name of the Lord? They called upon the Lord, and he put them on hold. He didn't answer them. No, it says he answered them. Ladies and gentlemen, this should encourage us, because just as we're to praise the great and terrible name of God, we are also to call upon that name. We're to call upon it because we know that God answers prayer. They called, Moses, Aaron, and Samuel. Now you say, well, I'm not Moses, I'm not Aaron, I'm not Samuel, I'm not like those holy men. Look, if you call upon the name of the Lord, you're going to get an answer. He's going to hear you. He waits. He longs to hear you call on him. Call out to him today. He spake unto them in the cloudy pillar. Now we go back into the tabernacle again. They kept his testimonies and the ordinance that he gave them. So what did he speak? He spoke testimonies and ordinances, and we still have those with us today. Those still encourage our holiness. Those still encourage our faithfulness. Those testimonies and those ordinances are still the standard by which we practice our faith. And so just like these men who called upon his name, so we still have received God's word. How wonderful. All right, join me again tomorrow. We will look at verses 8 and 9 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.